there's also a unique situation here within the NFL where a decade ago, hold-ins were not a thing. They're still not really a thing under the collective bargaining agreement. This is completely a thing where certain teams have decided we're going to allow it to happen. Certain teams fine guys if they refuse to practice. You're not getting the big fines for being a holdout. But right now we have 4 situations, Mike. Micah Parsons in a public standoff with the Cowboys. You have Trey Hendrickson in a public standoff with the Bengals. Terry McLaurin and the Commanders. James Cook and the Bills. I will just ask you this. Which of these is the most baffling situation in your mind? Because all of them on some level are things that you have to be surprised they've gotten to this point.
They all feel, the most baffling is they all feel like easy deals that, Tom, you and I could sit down and do. I feel like that. Seriously. We can get it done in 5 minutes. And I've always sort of felt that. It's like, well, there's no reason to rush it if you don't have that pressure point of the start of camp, the start of season, whatever it is. And at this point, it's going to be the start of the season for a lot of these things. But I just like, they're all baffling. I mean, Micah is the most baffling. That's the easy. I'll take the low hanging fruit because you know what the numbers are. You got to bite the bullet. And at some point, you just got to get it done. And why would you even get this guy to a point where he's entertaining thoughts? And I also don't think, like, the trade request came in and I was like, okay, fine. Because that's another thing, right? We've sort of become accustomed to all these things. That's, you hold in. If that doesn't work, then you fire the trade request. And I know that a lot of people around Micah and who know Micah and who have talked to Micah believe it's legit. It's not just like watch this hollow thing. At this point, he's so upset with the lack of communication. And that's what, like, show me my respect. Well, what they usually mean is the money. In this case, it's show me the respect. Like, I told you to go contact my agent. Why haven't you guys done that? And there has been at least some communication between the agent and the team. But, like, there's a lot of people at the team that they talk to. And it's like, okay, no, I'm not authorized to really have negotiations. It's got to be from Jerry, or it's got to be from whoever Jerry authorizes to have those discussions. So there hasn't been anything that I would actually even call communication, because until they're actually negotiating a deal, who cares if it's just checking in and just having a brief conversation? So that's the most baffling one, because why wouldn't you just, okay, let's just have some communication with the agent, even if you're not ready to pay the price and you want to drag this thing out for who knows why. At least have the negotiation, at least have the communication, and show him the respect that he deserves.
That's the part that gets me, is it's not the fact that the Cowboys are dragging out another high-profile negotiation. We saw it with CD last year. We saw it with Dak last year. We saw it with Dak the previous time around. This is their MO. But to not even call the agent, we're sitting here, it's August 11th. One of your best players has requested a trade. You have not made an offer. Like, the conversations back in March, Jerry to Micah. Micah said, I don't want to be held to that right now. It's 5 months later, and whether it is pride or it is just this isn't how we're going to do business, or you want to stir up interest in America's team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, debuting next week on Netflix. We'll be at the premiere of that tonight out here in Los Angeles.
Is that a promo read for the Gambler? Is that what you just picked up?
Yes, it premieres August 19th. Produced by Skydance Sports. It's going to be on Netflix. We're going to the premiere tonight.
We're going tonight.
The Egyptian Theater. We're looking forward to it. Maybe we can bring Jerry and Micah together there. We can solve this, Mike.
Good on you guys. But I'll tell you this. Jerry doing what Jerry's doing is probably a better promo for the Gambler than what you're reading right there, right? Like, that's all part of the whole deal. So he gets it. And I think that's at least a little part of this to continue the conversation in that regard. I just, like, at some point, are you playing with fire to the point where he goes, you know what? No, I'm legitimately pissed off and legitimately, no, trade me, because I don't even care about that. We're not there. And I think in the end, it can be mended and done relatively quickly. It's just got to happen.
It's a gamble. And speaking of gambles, America's team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, debuting on Netflix next August 19th, which is next.
The rare combination of a GOAT, Photoshop, and a social media account. Aaron Donald having a little bit of fun with this.
That's scary.
And Micah responding, don't tell me info like that. And then he put the Twitter account of his agent out there, and Rambling Man, the Rams account, hitting the jackpot, having Aaron Donald and Micah and all that stuff talking about it. And I mean, I mean, of all the things that probably won't happen, this is one of them, right, Andrew? I mean,
yeah, well,
you're not
listen,
gonna
if it
trade
does
him.
happen, I'm going to tell you right now, if that happens, I'm coming back as the U tight end, just goal line situations only, because I think that's all I got. All right, that's all I got. But listen, I'm going to be on that team.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Remember this, Andrew.
Listen,
Remember, you got to go
I'll
like
come
this
in
first.
at the heavy tight end, baby, and just take a couple third down snaps and goal line. But if that happens, I'm on that team. Let me tell you, I'm going to be hitting Sean up every day. Just give me whatever waiver I got to sign, I'm in.
Dude, I mean, honestly, the Cowboys. That's the whole point of this, right? Like, and just to come full circle here, Cowboys aren't trading him. They're just not trading him. He's not going to be traded. This will not happen. They are not going to trade him, and because he is under contract. The only thing is Jerry Jones completely, off the reservation to the point where he will not sit down and say one day, like, give me a couple hours and I will handle it with the agent and the player, because this thing could be handled. It could probably be handled in 2 hours. And
there's no doubt it could. I think it's the stubbornness in this point, Rich. It's really just Micah's frustrated. Jerry's he's being stubborn in the sense of how this is going. This is one of your best players. Like, this isn't something you go, oh man, we'll figure it out. I mean, this is what you did with Dak, with CD,
right?
And how did that work out, right? And so it's literally like, hey man, let's sit down and let's figure this out this weekend. We got we play a preseason game against the Rams. We're off the next day.
Yes.
It's really 2 days that are irrelevant. Let's sit down, you, the agent, let's get this cleaned up and let's move on. I look at this. Here's a great example. One of the reasons people haven't even talked about this, but like Stafford's situation and when it happened, the timing of it.
Yes.
One of the reasons that was done at that time, Stafford was under contract for more years with the Rams. So why was this even a conversation? The reason is the year before, Matthew had, obviously had the contract dispute going into camp of figuring out what it was that made him feel happy to be there and content on being the leader of the Rams. And they felt like, hey, you know what? Just like other teams have these situations, we don't like that being the narrative as we're going into camp and we're trying to build as a Super Bowl contender. Let's get this done way ahead of time to where anything that's contentious, anything that's like, hey, this is business, let's get this done now to where when we move on in March and April as a football team, all of that's behind us. And we're talking about how do we go win Super Bowls. And so to me, this is one of those conversations that this should have been done so long ago, because this is your guy. You drafted him to be exactly who he is. He's lived up to his part. This is easy stuff. Or you say, this isn't the kind of guy we want here, even though he is a great player. We don't like him. We don't want him in our building. Let's move on, go get the picks, and let's build our football team for next year's. We got a new head coach coming in anyways, so it's a great time to change the culture. But you have to make these decisions sooner, because you have to worry about the actual attitude, culture, the mentality of your football team and the direction they feel like they're going if you want to compete and win football games in the NFL right now.
Right. And if it doesn't work out, then you get the draft choices right then and there.
Yes.
For the draft that is upcoming, and where the draft choices are going to be pegged in the upcoming draft rather than make the trade now. Like, let's just say, and I'll let you go. Let's just say this thing that we saw, on the Rams fan account is possible, right? That this happens. Why would the Cowboys make a deal with a team for whom the first round pick could be 32nd overall? Or you don't know, right? It's all over the map potentially, but it's going to be at the bottom of the rung. Why would you, like, Micah should be like top of the top draft. That's why you don't make trades now. It's just none of it makes sense, which makes me think it's going to get done, at the end of the day. So
right, and that's what makes it just a ridiculous way to do business, because all you're doing is just kind of eroding a little bit your team atmosphere and mentality of how they feel about the season. That's all you're doing, is creating some doubt for your football team. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing you're really accomplishing with this.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.
There are any updates on negotiations with Micah? We know he's going to be on the sideline helping with the young guys tonight. I know you've been excited to see the way he's working with those guys. But in terms of negotiations, or just what you expect from him tonight helping?
Yeah, I'm glad to see he's working out and in shape and feels great. And so all of that's good. And I don't have anything to comment on.
Whoa! Now, Christy Scales of 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, the Cowboys' flagship radio station, was the one asking the question. Supposedly that was Jerry Jones answering, but that's not the kind of answer that Jerry Jones ever gives to any question unless it's strategic. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. Either someone told him, quit talking about Micah, and he actually listened. Chances of that are slim. Or he decided the best course of action right now is to say nothing. But I think that is significant. I don't know what it all means. I've got some ideas and I've got some information that we're going to talk about. But that really caught my ear, that he didn't have anything to say about something that 1 week earlier he said plenty about.
Yeah, Mike, I feel like it's the latter of what you said. I feel like somebody got in his ear and was like, hey, you're not helping. It ain't helping. Yeah, I know we like attention with the Cowboys. We like being front and center in the media and all that, but this ain't helping. And I do think he crossed the line a little bit with what he did with Micah. I think somebody told him, or he realizes like, Micah, he really don't like me right now. Like I definitely caused an issue here. And he's causing an issue with his football team and of course the fan base and everybody questioning it around him. So it does feel like that, Mike, that maybe somebody got in his ear and was like, hey, just keep it simple here. We don't need to dominate the day with you making some quote about Micah and making us look more dysfunctional, like we don't know what the hell we're doing around here.
And you may be right. Here's why. I heard yesterday that, and this all coincides with the fact that the Jerry Show on Netflix, the 10-part Jerry Jones documentary, premieres tonight in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I was told a couple of weeks ago by somebody in that world, that's probably about the time he'd like to sign Micah Parsons. The week of the big publicity push for the Netflix 10-part series that debuts next Tuesday, August 19th. Same day, Big Shield, by the way, comes out. Available on Amazon for pre-order, 99-cent ebook. But they need this to be a hit. Quarterback, second iteration, didn't do as well as the first. Receiver last year, didn't do as well as quarterback. They need an NFL hit on Netflix. So this is just part of Jerry Jones' step right up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's a great time to do it. I was told that they may be plotting an offer that will beat TJ Watt with 3 years guaranteed. The fourth year becomes guaranteed. In the third year, you know how they do the rolling guarantees, today or tomorrow, in an effort to get this done. So that was first step. So then I started poking around once I heard that. And that's why I'm thinking you may be right. Because what I heard was there's a pretty good chance the ship has sailed for Micah. Now, that doesn't mesh with his silence because he still hasn't said anything since he asked to be traded.
Yeah.
And we were saying last week, you really need to come out and set the record straight when Jerry says it's all BS, it's all negotiation. That's the last word. You need to have the last word if you want us to believe it's true. But, Chris, it really may be that it's not negotiation, that Jerry did cross the line, and that Micah is done with the Cowboys. Now, it's not like he can make that happen. They still hold his rights.
Right.
But it may be they make him that offer, and his response is, too little, too late.
As I said at the time, being around Micah a few times, right, like we have been, I get the sense that Micah Parsons doesn't put out quotes or comments like that unless he means it. Not saying he definitely is like, I'll never play for the Cowboys again, but I do think he shifted his mind a little bit within that when he said that and released that statement to go, I might not be here. It might be a reality, and I'm okay with that. And I think maybe that's where, right, it's hit home a little bit with the Dallas Cowboys, and they realize maybe it's a little more fragile than they would like at this moment. I mean, it better be more than TJ Watt. It should be. It should be more than that. We'll see where this
absolutely
goes. But, yeah, I do think he's messed this situation up, and I think it made it personal to Micah Parsons to a degree. And I can understand Micah Parsons having those feelings 100%.
$41.1 million per year new money average gets him to the top of the market. 45, I think, is the magic number. But again, it's what we were talking about earlier. There's what you want, and then there's what you won't say no to. And what will he not say no to? 43, 44, 42. Right. But he may say no on principle. And look, think about the history, and recent, not long-term. Micah Parsons is very astute and follows the game. He's got a podcast that he's prepared to talk about. He's already prepared to have a great career in broadcasting because he's willing to treat the game as a fan. So many players think it's beneath them to act like fans. He doesn't. He knows what Myles Garrett did Super Bowl week. He knows Myles Garrett said, I want out, and then they threw money at him, and all of a sudden it was fine. So when he asks to be traded, surely at some level he's thinking, I can't do that. I can't play that game where I act like I want to be traded, and then they just throw money at me and everything's fine. Yeah, I don't think he makes it lightly, Chris. I think they got a problem. They're gonna look. It's not going to be impossible for them to undo the damage. I just think they've got damage that they need to undo.
Right. Agreed.
And there's a chance it's too late for them to undo it.
Yeah, we're gonna see, right? But I know that the way Jerry went silent there, and the lack of news or anything to come out there, and even Micah Parsons not following it up with like something like you talked about, trying to just put more pressure on it. To me, almost in the fact that the silence speaks volumes too. That he is serious, and maybe he's like, no, I said what I said. It's real. That's it. And he's going to now just sit back and see what happens here. But yeah, going to be interesting. And then the Dallas just